Let's continue the joy of painting. Here, this is my Pentel water brush. Fine, this is the fine one with the fine brush tip. I'm adding water first. And then I'm picking up Windsor Red. Now, I am only using one colors for the euphorbia, but that won't stay that way. I will eventually add different colors. I think a brown, the raw umber, but I also think I will use a cooler tone, maybe a gray, something like that. So squeeze the brush a little bit and distribute the paint. It is Christmas morning this morning. Last night we had a wonderful, joyful dinner together with the whole family. My brother came from Germany and they had a little bit of trouble getting here because the car broke down. But all things worked out. They arrived a day later and we had they were in time for this Christmas dinner. Also a niece, no, a cousin of mine, and her mother, my aunt, were there too. It was all very, very festive and a lot of noise actually, because my parents, they have 6 grandchildren. The eldest child is 8 years old and the youngest is 1.5 years old. So you can imagine all these young kids playing with each other, and so that squeezing the brush again to distribute the paint. Now this morning I had to wake up early because I had a performance in the church, and I can tell you my performance was not the best of the year. Actually, it was the worst performance of the year. My voice broke down. And you know, when you are a singer, when there is a cold or a virus around, that can really ruin your performance. I had to be in church this morning at 8 a.m., very early, and while doing the rehearsals, I felt my voice was not optimal, but I'm always optimistic, so I thought, well, this is going to pass. All that mucus and the snot that is still there, that will pass. And once the service starts, I will have a free voice. But the opposite happened. More mucus was being formed and my throat became a little achy actually. Now, when you use proper vocal technique with, maybe you've heard of it, breath support, open throat techniques and stuff like that, if you do that properly, you never have a sore throat while singing. And well, I think I have a cold. It seems like that. because my voice deteriorated, and right now I feel this well, hoarseness. It's not completely hoarse, but I can feel there is a rough something in my voice that is rough. And I'm a soprano, so I sing high notes, and the higher the notes, the more difficult they are when your voice is not completely sound. At least this time that was the case. So I'm really a little bit annoyed. I was not happy this morning with the result. I was absolutely not happy. But when you perform, you will have to learn to deal with that. And I'm sure people, I know there are more musicians among you. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. I've seen once a concert with Renee Fleming, you know, the famous American opera singer. And it was very complicated because that was outdoors, an outdoors concert. And then all the musicians had these in-ears, so they would hear the music in their ears, obviously. And for some reason that didn't work well for Renee Fleming, and she was unable to sing on pitch. That really sucks. I can imagine how she hated that. She's a great singer. So something like that happens, that really, that is so annoying. So this Christmas morning started with, well, I think it's basically my ego being hurt by the fact that I could not. Do you hear? I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but it's not good. There's a cold, definitely. When I make these videos, having a little sore throat a little bit, that's not bad. But when it comes to singing, oh man. But well. Squeezing my Pentel water brush. Lovely stuff this is. These water brushes. Now, I've really learned something the last few years when it comes to coloring and painting. And what I learned is what Lisa from Lacry Fine Art is telling in her videos. Painting or a drawing ain't finished until it's finished. Take all the time it needs and deserves to finish it. So for example, right now I've been using only one color, the Windsor Red, and I cannot wait to use all the other colors as well. Cleaning my brush just by squeezing a little bit. But I have learned now, when it comes to watercolor, you will have to let the layers dry before you start adding new layers. Sometimes I mix right on the paper, but in this case I want to layer. And part of me is now telling me, hey, using this only one color is getting a little bit boring. That may be so. But I'll try to resist the urge to start using more colors. Let's do this first. Yeah. Let's go here. No. Yeah. I think Santa Claus says ho, 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 ho. In Dutch, you hear people say ho too, and then it means stop. Ho, stop. I'm not sure if Santa Claus means stop as well. So let's continue the fun. So as you can see, I'm using different techniques. Sometimes I first add water to the paper and then paint, and sometimes I do it the other way around. Eventually you will find a way that will give you the best results, and the results that fit you, that fit your hand and your style. I think I found my style in letting a sketch, a painting emerge from the background. I really like that idea. And to me it feels like this painting is emerging from the background. Really like that. Cleaning the brush, adding more water, diluting. I will let you hear some more music in the background. Songs that we sang with the choir a couple of weeks ago in the great cathedral of Dordrecht. If you work with watercolor pencils, then this is a great way, I think, to add color to your painting. Just add water first to the paper and then put in pigment. You can also pick the pigment up with from the pencil with a wet brush. I personally tend to do that. I do that with my Inktense pencils. I can hear birds making noise, great tits. I believe they are great tits. Yeah, I can see one. It's sitting in a tree. And they are searching for food. And my parents-in-law, they gave me a bird feeder. A little bird, it's a house, a wood birdhouse feeder. Now I have to put it together, and then I will put it in the garden with some bird food on it. And then hopefully I can make a couple of nice pictures. Grey tits and blue tits are wonderful, beautiful birds. Great color combinations in their feathers. And I'd like to draw or paint them one day. And a good reference photo will help. So I'll see if I can make that a picture of a grey tit. In springtime they also make a lot of noise, but then they make different noises. And the interesting thing is, well, it's not interesting. In this time of year, the end of December, I really long for springtime to come. So, and this particular year, it was in the newspapers here in the Netherlands that the weather this year has been extremely grey the last couple of weeks. We have seen very, very little sunshine, only clouds, 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 clouds. And it hasn't been this grey in 30 years. And I can really relate to the ancient people who invented, you know, the winter festivities in order to ask the sun to come back. I really relate to that. I think many people here in on the northern hemisphere, also the southern hemisphere, you know, if you live in the areas where the days become shorter and shorter in autumn, then at some point you really want spring to arrive with longer days. Yeah, that's so let's take a look, take a step back. It really works, don't you think? Just adding more colors. Now this one needs the same work, so let's do that right now. And then I can start using a different color. Looking forward to that. Okay. Adding water first. Picking up Winsor & Newton red. And you just pick the red that you want to use. Now there's still paint on my brush, so I will use that over here. Then I will add some water here. Yeah, I think this morning when the singing didn't go so well, that I suffered from hurt ego. Yeah, that's a different thing, a difficult thing when it comes to performing. You want to do good, and when that doesn't work, then yeah, it's difficult sometimes. I know a lot of musicians who are, I know one musician, he is a brilliant organ player, but he's a perfectionist. When he makes a mistake, he is not amused. So the brush is quite wet now, so that allows me to distribute the paint. Works pretty well. Well, let's add a touch of water here. Pick up paint. I'm watching my reference photo. I can see here that I missed something. This is a leaf also, and this is a leaf too, so now this looks dark, but you know, watercolor paint always dries lighter. So let's take a look. Here is another leaf. I kept it white for a while because I thought I would maybe want to make it green, because there are also green leaves on an euphorbia, but no, I'm going to make it red. I think that works better. So now cleaning the brush and then distributing the paint. So it's time to let things dry now, and then the next phase can begin. While the paint was drying, I have been doing a little bit of testing, because in order to create more depth in the euphorbia plants, I have to add a different color. And my first thought was to add raw umber. I did that over here. And then I thought, I'm not sure, maybe I should use Payne's Grey. I'm still not completely sure, but my gut feeling says that I need to use Payne's Grey. So I'm going to try doing that, and I'm going to do that, I think, over here. With my angled brush, I'm picking up clean water. Just adding it here. And then I will pick up Payne's Grey. It's here, just a touch. And I'm just going to add a touch of this Payne's Grey. And then a purplish tone appears, because it does mix a little bit with what is already underneath. And the interesting thing is, and I can show you, oh, you see the tiny purple dot here? Don't want that there. I can show you here on the plant here that when the leaves start to deteriorate, a purplish tone appears. And I have that here as well with this leaf. Very interesting. So it seems that this more purple tone will be more natural for this euphorbia. Let's pick up a little more of the Payne's Grey. I think here in between the berries and the apples, I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to make of these balls, these spheres. Cleaning the brush, picking up clean water. I will now add a touch of Windsor Red to intensify the color here. So at this point I am mixing on the paper, directly on the paper. I'm now picking up a touch of Payne's Grey to make it look a little bit darker. Okay. This is Windsor Red, so I am mixing on the paper. Cleaning the brush. Little more water. Yes, I'm barely touching the paper right now. While this painting was drying, I've been watching the speech of the Dutch king. Just like the Queen in England, the Dutch king always gives a speech on Christmas Day. And well, it was quite a good speech, I think. The Dutch king, Willem-Alexander, he feels that unity and at least trying to get to know each other and learn from each other and, finding what you have in common with other people, he finds that very important. So Christmas is a great moment of talking about those values. Thanks to my job as a voice teacher, I get to know many people from many different backgrounds. So that I find it really interesting and valuable. And not so long ago, I had a new student a couple of months ago, and this is a lady with a Moroccan background from Morocco. Her family is from Morocco, and there is quite a large Moroccan population in the Netherlands. I'm going to switch to a different brush. This is Winsor & Newton Series 7, size 2. Let's continue the fun. Adding water first. There's quite a large Moroccan population, or people who came from Morocco or their ancestors here in the Netherlands. But I never really got to know these people. I had some colleagues from Turkey and Morocco while working in as a constructional engineer. But classical music is so Western, it's so European, that many people from different continents, like Africa, Morocco is North Africa, they have completely different music styles. So if I working as a voice teacher and doing a lot of classical music, you hardly ever meet Moroccan people. But this time this lady came and she wanted to learn how to sing opera, classical music. And that is so nice. And she's telling me about her culture and about Morocco and the Moroccan culture. That is quite different than what I thought of. Very interesting. She is not a Muslim. She does not believe in that religion. But she is an open-minded spirit. I've also many students from different Christian backgrounds. You know, you might think a Christian is a Christian. Oh no. No. There are great differences actually. And I ask each and every one about their customs, their beliefs, because I want to learn, I want to get to know these people. And there are so many prejudice. So I prefer to check things myself. Now let's take a step back and see what this paint grays. Yeah, this is working, but I think I definitely will have to use another color. I will now do something dangerous. I am going for the raw umber. Let's see what happens. It is already on my brush. Let's see what happens if I put that in. it looks much more subtle, and I want to make a connection between the bells and the euphorbia, and I think this raw umber can make that connection. Yeah. I have my reference photo here, the little one. I'm painting the big one, but this really helps me to keep me on track. And there's something a little bit I don't know if this is, yeah, it seems like it is fine the way it looks. I'm going to add a little more of that raw umber. Picking up a little bit more water. This morning when the church ended, when it was finished, people could take a little euphorbia plant with them. And you know, because mine is deteriorating rapidly, I took one too. Yeah. So I'm just adding a little bit more of the Windsor red. I've been looking forward to a couple of days of only painting and coloring. Now today I can do a little bit of painting, and then tomorrow a couple of hours too, I think. And then I hope I will have time to do one whole day of painting. Would love to do that. I'm also thinking about a new project that I want to do in the living room. And I'm picking up a little more of this raw umber. Maybe a little bit here as well. You know. I could do this all day long. Look at that. Do you see the difference? One color, multiple colors. Yeah, that looks good. I'm very pleased with it. It's going slow and I will show you everything. Well, the bells, painting the bells was a bit of a mistake. But I will record everything. So it's going to take a long time, and I think if I want to have it finished on New Year's Eve, I will I will have to upload a lot of videos. Okay, this needs to dry now, and then the next I can continue.